Hi guys, today I'll be comparing the Powerbeats, the AirPods and the EarPods. The EarPods are just the headphones that come with every iPhone for free. So these are all Apple headphones. I'll compare them really in detail so you can see which will suit you best. I won't talk about any other headphones as I only have access to these three and it wouldn't make sense to talk about something I do not have experience with. First I'll be talking about the technical specs of the different headphones. After that I'll give my experience with them, so concerning Bluetooth, how they sit in your ear and most importantly what they sound like. The timestamps for the different topics are in the description or for mobile users in the comments, or you can just watch the whole video as I'll go through quite quickly but very detailedly. Now let's start with the general information. The price. The Powerbeats come for about 150 euros. The AirPods come for about 180 euros in a normal charging case or 230 euros in a wireless charging case. The EarPods just come with any iPhone for free, or you can buy a separate pair for 30 euros. If you're interested in the price for other regions, there are a few on screen right now. What's in the box? Additionally to the Powerbeats, obviously, they come with a small bag, a short black lightning to USB-A cable, a quick start manual, some warranty stuff, 3 additional ear tips and a sticker nobody cares about. The quick start manual is really small and easy to understand with pictures and everything. There's not much you need to know, but that's just explained there. The AirPods come with their charging case, a lightning to USB-A cable to charge that charging case if it's not wireless, and a small documentation. The EarPods obviously come with your phone or just alone if you bought them separately. Water or sweat resistance. The Powerbeats are the only water and sweat resistant headphones of these three, as they are mostly meant for doing sports with them. The buttons and the control. The Powerbeats have 4 separate buttons. The Beats logo on the right ear lets you pause, play, skip a track, go back a track, take calls and also activate Siri. There are also 2 buttons for turning sound up and down, and there's 1 button for turning the headphones on and off, as well as Bluetooth control. The AirPods don't need an on and off switch, as you do this by taking them out of the case and putting them back in. But they do allow putting 2 different commands for double tapping on the left and right AirPod. These can be activating Siri, pause, play or take calls, skip or go back a track. The rest has to be done via Hey Siri, which I find especially annoying as you can't control the volume. Except for an on and off switch, the EarPods basically have the same controls as the Powerbeats with their panel below the right ear. The battery time. The Powerbeats, when fully charged, have a listening time of about 15 hours, so you can literally work for a day straight and they won't run out of battery. Also, you should be able to get 1 hour of listening time just by charging them for 5 minutes, which is also quite cool. The AirPods only have a listening time of about 5 hours, but if they are charged by the case, they get an extra 19 hours. They also have this fast fill stuff, so if you charge them 15 minutes, they get 3 hours of listening time. And obviously the EarPods don't need charging. Look, size and color. The Powerbeats are quite big and chunky, so really noticeable, but they still look quite professional and they come in the colors red, white and black. Although the AirPods are a lot smaller than the Powerbeats, they're still quite obvious and noticeable, mostly because they just come in the standard Apple white, so that can be a good thing for you or not so good, depends on you. I guess when you're wearing the typical white EarPods you just look like an average person, because so many are wearing them nowadays, nobody will actually notice you. Now let's come to my experience with the headphones. Sound and bass. I'd say the Powerbeats definitely have the best sound compared to the other 2. This is mostly because they are really in your ear and not just hanging there, so they can create pretty good bass. What's also really nice is that the bass is really well balanced, so you can hear everything nicely without the bass actually really hammering in your ear. The AirPods are also really good, but they just have a little less bass, which makes sense. But I do think you wouldn't actually really notice any difference if you didn't have the side-by-side comparison. I hate saying this, but also the EarPods, which you basically get for free, also have really good sound. Yes, they have even less bass and the sound just doesn't seem so full, but honestly, if sound was the only reason for buying other headphones, I definitely wouldn't spend $150 for just a slight improvement. Feeling. As mentioned before, the Powerbeats actually don't hang inside your ear like the other 2, they actually really stick inside there. So you get a little pressure, but you get used to that quickly. Also, they have 4 different ear tips for different sized ears, but for me actually the standard worked fine. I do have to say the AirPods definitely have the best feeling of the 3. as they just sit nicely in your ear, barely noticeable. The only problem I have with them is if you move slightly, they always give you the feeling like they're going to fall out, although they actually barely do. The EarPods are a lot lighter than the other two, but as you have a cable running down, they definitely don't feel the best. Movement, sports and bicycle helmets. The Powerbeats are actually perfect for sports. It is basically impossible for them to fall out if you're jogging, riding your bike or doing anything else. Also, the Powerbeats definitely won't limit you in looking around, which I think is very important when you're on a bike. The cable which connects both headphones is not a problem at all. Actually, it's more a benefit because you can easily hang them around your neck if you need a break or you're talking to someone. All these three headphones don't have noise cancelling, but the Powerbeats definitely block out a good part of the outside world. So you'll still be able to hear sirens and also cars, but kind of this general overview by just listening is lost. But on the other hand, this obviously improves the listening experience. The AirPods I wouldn't recommend if you plan on doing sports with them, because they move around quite a lot in your ear if you move around. Mostly they don't fall out, but I would be anxious that if they do fall out while turning your head on your bike, for example, that they might break if they hit the ground. The EarPods have the benefit of not breaking when they fall out, because they will be caught by the cable. Still, they fall out quite often because the cable pushes them out when you move. So you can try and drive your bike, but when turning around, it is quite likely that they will fall out. Jogging is basically impossible as they fall out every few steps. The microphone. The mic on the Powerbeats is understandable, but it's pretty bad. You can hear this in this test. This is what the microphone of the Powerbeats sounds like on an Apple device. As you heard, this is pretty bad. Sadly, the AirPods aren't even better, as you can hear here. This is what the microphone of the AirPods sounds like on an Apple device. As comparison, here's the audio of the normal mic of the iPhone SE. This is what the normal microphone of an iPhone SE sounds like. I think it's really sad that these Bluetooth headphones have such a bad microphone quality. I don't know what the issue is, but it can't really be the recording device as they were recorded on an iPhone, and they should be made for that. Now in comparison, the EarPods are really good. Hear the test. This is what the EarPods microphone sounds like on an Apple device. Connectivity and Bluetooth. Both the Powerbeats as well as the AirPods have a H1 chip built in, which makes them function really well with Apple products concerning, for example, Hey Siri. Pairing with Windows via Bluetooth also works really well, so if you restart either the headphones or your PC, they will automatically reconnect. Also, if paired with multiple devices, the headphones will not have to be set into pairing mode again to switch between devices, you just have to tell your device to connect again. But both the Powerbeats and the AirPods have a problem with Windows because you cannot use the headphone mic at the same time you're playing audio. As the mic is so bad, I would use a separate mic anyway. Still, it is important to keep in mind that you will not be able to use solely the headphones to team chat or do calls on your computer. But keep in mind this does not concern iPhone. Both Bluetooth headphones have really good response time, so you can't notice any delay while video editing, even if you're going frame by frame. This was quite a pleasant surprise because this is not the case with many other Bluetooth headphones. I did notice a difference that on Windows the AirPods are unresponsive for like a fraction of a second when starting a song, so if the song starts immediately in the audio file, you'll notice a small part missing. Not a big deal, still thought I'd mention it as the Powerbeats are slightly superior in this point. The EarPods also work nicely with iPhones and probably any other device which has a 3.5mm headphone plug, but there is a problem when using it on a PC. As PCs mostly have two separate plugs for sound and for the mic, but the plug on the EarPods includes both, you won't actually be able to use the mic of the EarPods. Also, some audio drivers on Windows make life very hard. Now I did find a rather complicated way of getting the mic working with a cable splitter and multiple window settings. I will upload a video on how to do this in a few weeks, so as soon as I have, I will link this right here. But if there's nothing here, I might just suggest subscribing if you don't want to miss out on that video. Hey Siri and reading messages. The Powerbeats and the AirPods can both read incoming messages, but only from the Apple Messenger at the moment. Still, there might be future updates which also let apps like WhatsApp join. Normally you should be able to respond right after the message was read, but I've noticed that this doesn't really work that well. Hey Siri works in most situations really well, but if you're in quite loud traffic it might not. On the EarPods, Hey Siri is a lot worse, but it still works if it's pretty silent. Also, the EarPods can't read messages whatsoever. Other stuff I couldn't fit into my list. Sleeping on the side with Air or EarPods works quite fine, but trying that with Powerbeats just doesn't work. What I just think is a pretty cool feature of the AirPods is that if you lose one, they immediately stop playing music, that you notice it and can pick the dropped AirPod back up before losing it completely. But don't worry, it is still possible to play music even if you only have one AirPod in your ear for better awareness of your surroundings. Now that's the end of today's video. If you still got any questions, leave them down in the comments and I'll try to reply to all of them. Have a great day and I'll see you in some other video I linked in the end card. Bye!